Moi kaikki! Today, let's talk about the conditional mood in Finnish. This is pretty important to know in the Finnish language since it does come up very often, also in daily conversations. One way to think about the conditional mood in Finnish is to equate it to the English words could or would. And in Finnish, it's marked by the letters ISI in the word. But before we go into too many details, I want to quickly remind you about a useful language learning resource called italki. If you are looking for more resources to practice your Finnish language skills, especially speaking skills, they have trial lessons that are shorter and cheaper, so you can try different teaching styles and lesson types without committing right away. You can browse tutors' intro videos and reviews to find one that matches your learning goals. I used italki myself to prep for a Korea trip I took earlier this year, and during my class I learned some handy travel phrases and was able to ask questions about Korea from my tutor. I've also been a tutor on italki for about half a year now. This week I did reach a huge milestone of teaching my 100th italki class. My own lessons tend to focus on building conversational skills. For example, in the classes I had yesterday, with one student we had a casual chat in Finnish where the focus was on speaking and acquiring new words naturally. Then the next class was a beginner class where we did some recap of words and phrases we went over previously, answered some questions that came up during the week, and practiced some new words and short phrases. In my final class, we went over the basics of genitiivi, and my student practiced writing and creating his own sentences using genitiivi in Finnish. Today in my class, we are going to go over some speaking exercises from a book that we use together called Tietää. During our classes, we go over our practice questions and practice especially the speaking exercises to prep for his upcoming Yki exam. So as you can see, italki is very flexible. You can find all types of tutors that offer various types of classes. There are also no subscriptions. You just pay for each lesson as you want to have them. You're not committed to any specific type of schedule. But if you are interested, I would urge you to use my ambassador code CAT Finnish, as you'll get extra discounts from any class with any teacher on italki if you use my code CAT Finnish. So you'll get €5 off of any class worth €10 or more if you are booking your first class on italki. In Finnish, the conditional mood is used to express uncertainty or conditionality, or as we learned in my previous video, it can also be used to make polite requests. So go check that video out if you have not watched it yet. This is a continuation video building on the knowledge that we learned there. One popular example sentence that kind of showcases this conditional mood in action is the phrase kävelisin jos voisin, which translates to I would walk if I could, and it expresses the conditionality of walking. I would walk, kävelisin, jos, if, voisin, I could. I would walk on the condition that I could walk. Isi here is marking that conditionality of walking. We'll go over some more examples a bit later in the video, but first let's talk more about how to form the conditional mood. To create the conditional mood in Finnish, you add ISI to the strong stem of the verb. How do you find the strong stem, you may ask? You simply conjugate the verb you want to turn into the conditional mood into the he form, which is the third person plural. So he form, put the verb into that, and then you will be able to find where to add isi. Let's take a few examples so you get what I'm trying to talk about. The verbi seisoa means to stand. Seisoa. Seisoa in the he form is he seisovat. Vat is the he marker, so we chop it from there and we're left with seiso. So we are using seiso, which is the strong stem of this verb, and adding isi after it. So it would be seisoisi. And then after you add isi, you add whatever pronoun marker that you want to talk about. If I'm talking about Minä, it would be en, because the Minä marker is en. Minä seisoisin. For Sinä, it would be sinä seisoisit. Hän seisoisi. Me seisoisimme. Te seisoisitte. He seisoisivat. That is how you create the conditional mood in Finnish. Let's take a few more examples. Muistaa, to remember. Muistaa. To find the strong stem, we put muistaa into the he form. So he muistavat. Chop it at the butt. He muista. Add isi, muistaisi. And then just add whatever pronoun ending you need to use. Minä muistaisin. Now you try. With the verb tietää, to know. Tietää. Are you able to create the conditional mood with the verb tietää in all the pronoun forms? Minä, sinä, hän, me, te, he. The answer will be in the description box. So that is the basic way of how you create the conditional mood in Finnish, where you're supposed to add the isi. There is one exception, however, and that exception is if the verb strong stem ends in an e. So in that situation, what you have to do is take the e away before adding isi. For example, the verb kävellä, to walk. Kävellä. He form of kävellä is he kävelevät. Take the vat away and you can see the stem ends in an e. He kävele. So in this situation, you need to take the e away before adding isi. So it becomes kävelisi. Kävelisi. And then to put it into minä form, minä kävelisin. Minä kävelisin. Sinä kävelisit. Hän kävelisi. Me kävelisimme. Te kävelisitte. He kävelisivät. What about the verb itkeä, to cry? Itkeä. Itkeä. He itkevät. Chop it at vat. And here you can see again the strong stem ends in e. He itke. So what do? We take the e away and then add isi and then add the pronoun ending. So for minä, it would be minä itkisin. Sinä itkisit. And so on and so forth. You guys try it now. What about the word nousta? Verbi, nousta, to get up. How would you put nousta into the conditional mood for all the different pronouns? Minä, sinä, hän, me, te, he. Try putting nousta into conditionali. Answers in the description box. So let's get back into the topic of when to use the conditional mood besides polite requests, like the previous video that I made. You'll often see it in if-type sentences, where it's used to describe hypothetical situations. For example, jos olisi nälkä, söisin jotain. If I were hungry, I would eat something. So here, we're using if, jos. Jos is if. If I were hungry. Jos olisi nälkä. Söisin jotain. I would eat something. Again, would here is indicating the conditionality or hypothetical situation. So, söisin jotain. I would eat something. You can also flip it and put the if part on the second part of the sentence. For example, soittaisin kitaraa, jos osaisin. Soittaisin, I would play the guitar. Soittaisin, I would play it. Jos, if, osaisin, if I knew how. Okay? Osaisin, if I would know how. So as you can kind of see, you use it for if sentences, but also you use the conditional in sentences that in English you would use the words could, would, or should. Jos osaisin uida, menisin uimahalliin. If I could swim, I would go to the swimming hall. Osaisin, if I could, if I knew how to. Menisin, I would go. Matkustaisin Suomeen talvella. Matkustaisin, I would travel. I would travel to Finland during winter. Matkustaisin, I would travel. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. If you have further questions, please leave them in the comment box below and I or someone else will hopefully answer your questions. Kiitos paljon kun katsoitte tämän videon ja nähdään ensi kerralla.